Welcome back. This is Become a Bat, a chronological look through Batman and Detective Comics from the beginning. At least Batman in Detective Comics from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no easy way of saying that. It just, this the first issue? No, the 27th issue.
Yeah.
Not even the whole thing. So, this week we are going to be talking about Detective Comics number 41 and the third story in Batman number 1.
Yep. Almost done with Batman number 1. Only
Yeah.
one more story after that. One more Batman story. We're only reading the Batman stories.
Yeah. Which got to do something about the pre-Batman comics. I think that could be a good miniseries before Batman.
Yeah. All the detective stories leading up
Yeah.
to it.
I mean,
There's probably some influence in there.
Yeah, we don't have to read all of them, but I definitely want to cover like Slam Bradley, and I think one was called just Spy.
That would be fun to do, like
Yeah.
Detective Comics podcast, issues 1 through 27.
Yeah, like I know that there's a like a website called, I think it's a website or a blog called Before Mario, and it's about Nintendo's history before Mario showed up.
That's pretty cool.
Which-
I know a little bit about their pre-Mario history.
We got a little bit of that with Batman. So,
I'm fine. It's not we can do it with Action Comics because it starts with Action Comics number 1.
yeah, Superman shows up from the get-go. He's the star. Batman had to earn his place in the spotlight, so to say.
Yeah.
Detective Comics number 41, The Masked Menace of the Boys' School. This is the issue for July 1940. Art by Bob Kane and Jerry Robinson. Written by Bill Finger. Would you like to talk about the cover?
Yeah, I'll describe the cover. So we've seen this cover in the book because I'm reading them out of a hardcover book and you're reading them off of some digital files. Depending on what you're looking at, some of the covers are like pink and some are more red. But either way, like the cover that you have right here is the red one, and it looks very much like Batman the Animated Series because you got this really dark red sky and this huge yellow moon, and all the buildings in the background, like the skyscrapers, are silhouetted, so they're just jet black. And you got Batman diving out of the sky towards a thug who's got Robin in his hands like he's trying to stab him. I know Robin's not in the Batman Animated Series opening credits, but tell me this doesn't remind you of that, like with Batman diving after a thug on a rooftop.
It really does. Batman's diving, he's doing like a more of a literal dive as if he's jumping into a pool. I don't think that would end well afterwards, but as long as Robin doesn't get stabbed, that's the important part.
Yeah. Oh, that thug looks very spooked too.
Yeah,
diving out of
definitely.
the sky. He must have dove out of his bat driver or bat plane or something.
Yeah, or from maybe another building, like a window or something.
Yeah.
All right, so the synopsis. So Bruce and Dick are reading the news about a young boy named Spencer who gets kidnapped right out of his dormitory, and an escaped homicidal maniac is the prime suspect. So they decide to get to the bottom of it, and Bruce enrolls Dick at school. While Bruce is talking with the principal Blake, a teacher named Mr. Greer walks in. He's like expressing his grievances about being fired because some rich father is angry that Greer's been failing his son. So he threatens the school, and the principal just laughs him off as harmless. They move on, and Bruce and Dick, they're taking a tour of the school, and they meet the art teacher, Mr. Graves, and the history teacher, Mr. Hodges. Mr. Graves is a master engraver, and he's very modest about his work, even though he's like, yeah, this is just some of my work, but
I like how his name is Mr. Graves and he's an engraver.
yeah, I thought that was pretty clever. And then Mr. Hodges is just kind of like, whatever, get out of my way. Like, he brushes them off. He's busy. Bruce tells Dick that it might be hard for Batman to snoop around with all the cops around, so it's going to be easier for Robin to do the investigation on this one. So one night, Dick puts on the Robin costume and he gets right to work. The first thing he does is search the room of the kidnapped boy. He reads Spencer's diary and he finds something curious in the final entry. Spencer wrote that he spotted a masked man walking down the corridor at school. And just then, the masked man appears and he snatches the diary out of Robin's hands. He tries to get away, but Robin's pretty persistent. They have a little chase, and then eventually the masked man pulls a chair out and just knocks Robin down with it. By the time Robin gets up, the masked man is gone. At that point, Robin, he just kind of sits down. He uses a wireless phone in his belt to send a message to Batman.
So funny.
Yeah. Batman's just outside when he gets the message, and the belt phone looks really awkward
Yeah, it does. Especially Batman, it like pops out and it goes up like that.
Yeah, it's got like a little antenna on it. It basically, if you're just some outsider in 1940 walking by and you see Batman standing there, it looked like he's just talking to his crotch.
Yeah, well, and the way that he like what he says when it pops out, it makes it seem like he's just got a phone in there all the time. He's just waiting for it to ring and just goes boop, boop.
Yeah, this is the first time we see this in the comics.
So ridiculous.
So Robin tells Batman what happened. Meanwhile, the masked man, he's at what must be his home or somewhere. He's reading the diary and he realizes that this would incriminate him, so he throws it into the fireplace. The next night, Robin's patrolling outside when he hears screams. He runs around the corner and he sees a man about to be stabbed by somebody. It's the homicidal maniac.
Of course.
The homicidal maniac, he's yelling something about like these janitors being his keepers. Robin approaches and the maniac sees him. He attacks him, but Robin's just too good for this guy. So Robin beats him up with relative ease. And then a couple people walk by. I think they were cops. My scan is like really low quality, so
Yeah.
wasn't clear. Robin just books it. He's done. The night is saved. And the next day, Dick is just at school and he hears just like the faculty over talking with each other. They say like, "Oh yeah, they got the maniac.
Tick.
Yeah, the escaped lunatic. Case must be closed. That must be it. You know."
Yeah.
Even though they never did find Spencer.
I mean, they're pretty terrible cops. Robin went into the room and then within like 2 seconds, he found the journal just scattered amongst other open books.
Well, he did say that the journal was within like a stack of books, and
Yeah.
the cops probably thought it was just another school book.
Come on, cops.
But yeah, I mean, it would have like handwriting in it. Wouldn't be a typed up,
Yeah,
full
it would
book.
look a little different. I know, I'm just saying that's probably why they're like, oh yeah, crime's solved.
Yeah.
We're good here. Bye.
Mr. Hodges, though, he's the only one out there who's like, yeah, I don't think this is now closed. He thinks differently. So later that night, Robin is investigating the principal's office. He sneaks in and he finds that Principal Blake has been murdered. His body's there. So apparently he just leaves. And the next morning, the police find the corpse. Mr. Greer, who was fired earlier, he's taken in for questioning. Greer claims he's innocent, but he does have motive. One, he got fired. Two, he threatened the school. And the police then also accuse him of kidnapping Spencer. So later, Batman and Robin, they're talking about the case over their crotch phones. And Batman's not convinced that the case is closed. He thinks something else is going to happen. Robin continues his investigation when he spots the masked man leaving the principal's room. Robin stealthily follows him to see where he goes, and he sees him open the secret panel behind a blackboard. Robin follows him inside, and they go through this corridor, and it's got like a secret tunnel, and they go outside, and it takes them to this nearby house. So Robin, he gets to the house, and he peers through the window where he sees a counterfeiting operation. There's the masked man, there's a bunch of dudes just operating machinery, counting money, and he sees Spencer. Spencer's tied up. And he gets there just in time because the masked man is about to stab him to death when Robin jumps in.
Right.
He saves Spencer and he starts beating up a bunch of the dudes. And he's doing a really good job. He's like fending them off single-handedly. And then he's like, well, I could do this by myself, but guess who's here? It's Batman.
Yeah.
Batman shows up. He beats the rest of the guys up, and the masked man escapes. Robin chases after the masked man, and he pulls out his trusty sling,
Oh yeah. Just
and he gets a direct hit on the guy's head. And then they unmask him, and they find out that the masked man is Mr. Graves, the art teacher.
yeah. Who was talking about how much he didn't trust the other guy.
Yes. So it turns out that Mr. Graves has been using his talents as a master engraver to run a counterfeiting operation. He's been running it with the Principal Blake, and he murdered Principal Blake because he thought Principal Blake was going to steal some of their hidden money. And the escaped criminal just kind of happened to be there as happenstance. He just kind of made a really good patsy.
Yeah, he's a red herring.
Yeah.
Just there to throw you off the scent.
He used him as basically a reason for Spencer to be kidnapped. Plays blame on Spencer for being kidnapped. And the day is saved. And that's the end.
Didn't I mean, I could be wrong, but I thought that he killed Blake because Blake had, like, a change of conscience and he was gonna, like, rat them out to the police or something.
No, no, that wasn't it. One of them got noticed by Spencer. I
Mhm.
think they might have also both been wearing the masks, and one of them got caught by Spencer. Well, let me look through the issue here.
While you're doing that, I guess I'll get into my thoughts a little bit here.
Yeah.
So, first of all, is every little kid, like, every teenage boy in this Batman Detective Comics really running gonna be portrayed as, like, kind of a little dick? And I don't mean like a little dick as in Dick Grayson,
Oh,
but they all kinda act like him so far, like, they're very cocky and they're just like, "Yeah, that guy's a jerk, blah, blah, blah," and they're all kinda scrappy little fighters, like, is that just how kids were back then?
I don't think they were like that, but I think that's just how the writers might have wanted kids to act, or not act, but envision themselves.
I like it. I mean, I'm not complaining, I like it. I think it's funny that they're all so aggressive.
Let's see. I got the panels up here. Let's see. Unmasked him. I think I do. You remember Griggs here is a master engraver. What would be more simple for them to engrave counterfeit money? Graves and the principal were partners. Graves used to sneak out of his room and use the tunnel to get here. One night, he was spotted by the boy, Ted Spencer. I see. And when Spencer told Blake that he saw a masked man in the school, Blake told Graves, who kidnapped him so that he wouldn't tell anyone else.
Mm,
Right. But Blake got panicky and Graves killed him. Then tonight, he came back to steal Blake's hidden money.
okay, so Blake was panicking, he was afraid he was gonna rat them out or something,
Yeah,
but there wasn't anything confirmed.
exactly.
I'm just jumping to conclusions.
What are your thoughts on the issue?
I like that a lot. I like both these issues that we're gonna talk about a lot. I'm glad they're so Robin centric. I feel like this one specifically feels like Batman giving Robin a chance to prove himself. You can do this all by yourself. And then when Robin is like busting into that room when they're about to kill that kid, it feels very much like a moment that Batman has had in these past couple issues. Like he's almost imitating Batman, you know, like
Yeah.
waiting right until someone's about to get hurt and then busting in and be like, I'm gonna stop you guys.
Yeah, he's taken a lot from Batman already. There's still a lot of that chumness to it,
Yeah.
but I do like that Batman's got enough confidence in Robin to take the lead.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Let him take the lead.
in the next issue, it proves it even more how
Yeah.
much confidence he has in his abilities, which I thought was pretty cool. Although like a little risque, I guess, too. But we'll get into that in the next
Yeah.
issue.
I think the next issue, Batman, he let Robin take over, but then he's like, I should have done this case.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought their crotch phones were hilarious. Like, come on.
Yeah, that's my panel of the issue was Batman standing there talking into his crotch.
Yeah,
It looks so silly.
I know.
So like with Dick Tracy, they got it pretty close with the watch phone.
Yeah. I
But
mean, like, well, look, we have watch phones now
yeah,
in real life. So I thought the watch phone is pretty smart.
Bill Finger's idea was a lot funnier. I was thinking like comes off as a parody of somebody thinking like, what are people gonna do in the future? Oh, they'll talk into their crotches.
Someone should make like a Photoshop ad for like watch belt phones, watch belt smartphones.
Yes. Smart underwear. I hope we get more crotch phone in the further issues.
This is probably going to be the one and only appearance of it, but it would be funny if it comes back.
Yeah, maybe they'll think of something more practical.
I like that other panel you chose too, where it has like the lineup, like a suspect lineup. And
Yeah,
it says like, check the box of who you think this number one suspect is or whatever.
that was pretty neat. When I saw it in my head, I was imagining the narrator from the 1960s Batman show,
Yeah.
just like reading it off and just like the little like do do do, like they show their
For
faces.
sure. Both these issues feel like very heavily inspirational on that Adam West show.
So, any final thoughts on the? Oh, what's your favorite panel of the issue?
That's right. I picked two panels. My main panel, like for sure, my favorite panel. Another very 60s Batman panel. You got Robin scaling up a brick wall, holding onto some vines, and his cape's all fluttering in the wind.
Yeah,
And he's silhouetted by the moon. And then it just says, like, swiftly the agile figure scales the high wall. I like that a lot.
yeah, that's a good panel.
And then I also wanted to include the panel right below it here that I have, which just shows Batman and Robin like beating up all these thugs in this room. I just love how it takes the time and during the last sentence of the description to say that the Batman and Robin are having fun. while they beat these guys up.
Yeah, they're having a gay old time.
Yeah, it's just so different from like the issues leading up to this, where it's like dark and grim, and he's like this weird, menacing figure of the night, and all of a sudden they're beating people up and having fun.
Yeah, and it's also really refreshing that we have this Batman and Robin relationship where there's just like there's none of that teen angst
Right,
that would come in later. Like it's fine when it happens, but it's just refreshing that they're just like, yeah, no, this is what we do, and we're having an awesome time doing it.
for sure.
All right, when we're gonna have a small break, and when we get back, we're gonna get to story 3 of Batman #1, the Cat. And now we are going to talk about Batman #1, story 3.
Yep, back to Batman #1. This story is The Cat, and it's our first introduction to the cat burglar known as the Cat, aka soon to be Catwoman. She's not called Catwoman yet, though. They didn't even say her real name, but we know that's who it is. All right, well, let's get started. So, Mrs. Travers, the owner of a $500,000 necklace, is throwing a lavish yacht party. There's an article in the paper about it that catches Bruce's eye. He has a hunch that there will be thieves aboard the yacht trying to steal the necklace, so he makes a few phone calls and manages to secure Dick a place on the yacht as a steward. Once aboard, Dick makes his way around the ship, eavesdropping on guests. One of the other young stewards on the ship tells Dick that all the other passengers are friends of Mr. and Mrs. Travers, and they're constantly taking advantage of them by borrowing money and never paying it back. Not long after Dick overhears Mrs. Travers and her brother having an argument about money. It seems he lost a bunch of money in the stock market and thinks that she should recoup his losses. Mrs. Travers does not agree. As Dick rounds a corner, he just happens to see Denny, Mrs. Travers' nephew, tossing a crumpled up piece of paper off the side of the ship.
There's a lot of names in this issue.
There are. Lucky for him, the wind whips the piece of paper back on board and Dick is able to get his hands on it and read it. It says to keep his aunt away from her room, and it's signed, The Cat. From the note, Dick assumes that the necklace must be kept in her room, but as soon as he makes the connection, Mrs. Travers comes running out of her room, screaming about her necklace being stolen and the guard having been knocked out. Everyone comes clamoring onto the deck of the boat to see what the commotion is. Just then, another boat approaches, claiming to be the Coast Guard. Mrs. Travers happily lets them aboard, thinking that they can help her find the thief. But as soon as they board, she realizes that they're not the Coast Guard, but instead, they're mob thugs with Tommy guns.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Damn mob got thugs with Tommy guns.
I like that they're making like a boat heist.
Yeah. They're just crashing this party. They are there to steal the $500,000 necklace, but Mrs. Travers tells them about how it was just stolen. The thugs decide to search everyone on deck to find it, and while they're at it, they loot all the other valuables on the ship. They aren't able to find the necklace, and they're about to give up and head back to their boat.
I do like that the thug was like, give me the necklace. And she's like, it's already been stolen.
And he's like, okay.
Not even that. He's like, he goes to another guy. He's like, tell her to give me the necklace. And he's like, she told you the truth.
Yeah, I know. And then they're just like, fine, we're going to find it. And then they don't find it. Dick launches an attack. He flies around and throws a flurry of punches, all while dodging the bullets. He manages to avoid being hit, but then ends up diving off the side of the boat into the dark, icy water below. The thugs decide that now is the time to leave, especially since they got more than they originally came for anyways. They leave the yacht and board the boat that they came in on. As they're sailing away, they notice a small red speedboat that starts gaining on them. Soon it is upon them, and it's Batman at the steering wheel. He leaps off the speedboat and onto their boat, throwing a punch and knocking their leader out, while Robin lassos the rest of them together from above. Then, seemingly out of the blue, Batman decides to take all of their guns away and prove to them, as well as the readers, that criminals are useless and scared without their guns. He sets all of them free and lets them all attack Robin barehanded. But Robin absolutely decimates and humiliates them all. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's breaking the fourth wall just randomly.
Yeah, but it is really fun to see.
Yeah, just letting Robin toy with him.
Robin absolutely decimates and humiliates them all and then ties them all back up. Batman and Robin turn their boat around and head back to the yacht. They crash the masquerade party in progress. As Batman arrives, Mrs. Travers gives him the best costume award for his Batman costume. Then he produces all the stolen jewels and money and dumps them into the trophy and reveals himself to be the real Batman.
This isn't the first time that Batman's been mistaken for a guy in costume.
I know. It's a recurring thing. Suddenly, the fire alarm goes off and everyone begins to panic and run. Batman notices that one of the old women on the ship is running too fast and agile, as if she were not an older woman. So he gives chase. Robin swings in and grabs her before she can get away. Then Batman removes her wig and wipes off her old age makeup. Underneath it, it is a beautiful young woman and a thief. Batman removes a bandage from her ankle that was supposedly supporting an injured ankle, but was actually a hiding spot for the missing necklace. Just as Batman is admiring the size of the gems on the necklace, nephew Denny shows up with a gun, revealing himself to be a co-conspirator. Batman knocks him in the jaw with the heavy necklace, knocking him unconscious.
I'm sure that was what he was admiring, the large jewels.
Right. The cat tries to put the moves on Batman and convince him to sell the jewel and split the profits with her. Batman tells her that as intriguing as the offer is, he could never do it because they're on different sides of the law. Batman and Robin finally give the necklace back to Mrs. Travers. They lock Denny away in his room, call the Coast Guard, and then load the cat aboard their speedboat and take off for the mainland. On the way back to the city, though, the cat jumps overboard and Batman and Robin stumble just long enough to go after her that she manages to get away. Batman mumbles to himself about her beautiful eyes and reminds himself that he already has a girlfriend, but still hopes to run into this woman again. The end.
This was a great issue.
Yeah.
I just love how Batman, like, he's always been perfect so far. I mean, yeah, he gets hit in the head sometimes by enemies, but usually when he's like fighting or anything, he's perfect.
Yeah.
This time, he's like, oh, Butterfingers.
It's so awkward, too, the way that it happens. Like, because he's sitting on the boat and Robin's like trying to climb over him and he like kind of stands up like to get in the way of Robin and it looks so purposefully done.
Yeah. This is the first time we see Batman. He try to bend his own rules. Is like,
Yeah.
oh man,
Oop.
I should be putting her in jail.
Yeah.
Why didn't he just tie her up with Denny anyway?
Yeah. Let's just take her with us and leave him behind.
Yeah, what
Makes no sense.
Take her to jail? I don't know.
Yeah, I want to get into my panels real quick before we get into
Yeah,
thoughts,
let's talk about the panels because it's
Yeah.
pretty much the same.
Yeah, the panels and thoughts are the same for this one. So my favorite panel was one of Dick Grayson dressed in his steward outfit, fucking decking some guy in the face. And he says, "I don't like your face. I think I'll change its appearance."
Harsh.
Yeah, and then there's another guy in the background with a gun going, "Get that kid." And then I put two more panels in here just because I thought they were funny and really weird. One was the close-up of Batman after he just let Robin beat up all those thugs, saying, "Well, kids, there's your proof. Crooks are yellow without their guns. Don't go around admiring them. Rather do your best in fighting them and all their kind." Like, why?
Yeah, we got this public service announcement.
He just
right?
turns around and like faces you, the reader, and like goes on
Yeah,
some.
he's got a spotlight too. Like,
I know.
even though they're out in like the middle of daylight in the middle of the ocean
on a boat.
Yeah, like spotlight. Like it's got a nice shadow behind it
Hey,
too.
kids.
Yeah, it's great.
I know, it's really funny. And then this last one, I guess this probably is similar to like how they say like boner and stuff like that and gay and like they don't really mean it in the way that people say it nowadays.
Yeah,
But he's rubbing the mortician's wax or whatever off her face that she used to make herself look old. And she's like, "Let go of me." And he's like, "Quiet or Papa spank."
yeah. That's
It's so weird.
this panel definitely stuck out in my mind years and years ago when I first read it. It's
I
just
know.
so different than what he is like now, and
Yeah.
even back then, like with other characters. Like this is the only character he's ever talked to in this way.
You know how I told you, like, I want to write a story where Batman tells his entire love life through the history of Batman comics to Robin,
Yeah,
and how I can't write it until I have, like, actual dates and issues and all that. I'm writing it as we do this podcast because it's the perfect opportunity to, like, go through there and actually chronicle his love life. I'm totally referencing that moment. When him and Catwoman finally get together,
yeah.
he's going to repeat that line because it's the perfect line.
my panel of the issue is where he's rubbing the makeup off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like my runner up was the spotlight PSA moment where he's breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah,
It reminds me, oh, they must have been happening around the same time the radio show that they had,
I could see that.
where like it's Batman and he's telling like campfire stories to a bunch of kids, and Dick Grayson's there too. What are your thoughts on the issue itself?
Well, as problematic as I think it is to like set a bunch of thugs free and give them a chance to kill Robin, I did think it was cool that Batman just sits there with his arms and legs crossed watching it go down and Robin just beats the crap out of all these guys. It proves that Robin is very capable, not only at fighting, but also detective work and all the same things that Batman's good at. And the Batman has that much faith in him to set all these guys free and just know beyond a doubt that Robin can handle himself. Also, I wrote in here, this issue is the first part of an ongoing debate between the characters of Batman and Catwoman about where they first met and whether they first met on a boat or a roof.
Mm,
Because they meet here on a boat where she's Catwoman and he's Batman, but they meet in Batman Year One on a roof when he's Bruce and she's Selina.
they never say her name, Selina Kyle, in this,
Right.
or even Catwoman, just the cat.
Mm-hmm.
They do make it clear that she'll probably be back.
Also, is this the start of Bruce's Playboy persona right here, maybe? Or do you think this is just a weird line of dialogue and some weird offhanded references to that he thinks she has beautiful eyes and, oh, but I must not forget that I have Julie.
I think it's just him basically kind of bewildered. I don't think it's because it's not Bruce.
That's true.
Like he's full costume. Bruce Wayne doesn't even show up in this, does he?
Yeah.
No,
I don't think so.
like he's not on the boat. It's pure Batman. I think it's just I think Batman just forgetting like he's a crime fighter for a brief moment, and he's thirsty.
Just thinking with the wrong brain, with the
Yeah.
wrong head.
Speaking of boats, so Batman and Catwoman's their first run in was on a boat.
Mm-hmm.
So was Batman and Superman's.
Yep.
Yep, I was on some kind of luxury liner or something like that. And it also reminds me of another big thief story that takes place on a steamboat, which is the very first Arsène Lupin story.
Oh, yeah. I saw that in your comments.
Yeah, you should definitely read it. It's not that long. It's been forever since I've read it, but it's public domain, so you can get it for free. But from what I remember, it's like first person perspective, and he's telling a story about him on a boat, and he's like disguised, and in the end, they like catch him. Like he failed. Like, I can't remember if he steals anything, but they do expose him, and he gets taken away. So it's pretty funny overall. And then even just Selina Kyle reminds me of Fujiko from Lupin the Third, and then we got them using disguises.
I wonder if the reason that this takes place on a boat, and same thing with the Superman one and everything too, is because of that Death on the Nile Agatha Christie story, which came out in 1937, which features a murder mystery on board a giant boat.
Could be. There's no murders here, but
I mean, still, like, it's a mystery aboard a boat. You know,
yeah,
that something's missing, and Mr. Detective has to show up and solve it.
yeah. I know. It reminds me more of Arsène Lupin. I don't know if that was a direct inspiration or not, but
Maybe it very well could be.
Julie Madison still exists.
Yeah.
But I think we get the first hint that Batman might want her just quietly disappear. He's got much higher sights now.
Yeah, or lower, I guess, depending on how
Yeah.
you look at it.
Yep.
What was Julie's first appearance? Do you remember? I didn't.
It was in the Mad Monk issue.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I wrote that in there, but I wasn't sure. Maybe she popped in there before there, and I just didn't
Yep.
notice it.
They needed a damsel in distress, and
Yeah.
just Bruce Wayne's got a fiance now.
So maybe what's happening is he realized he doesn't want the damsel in distress anymore. He wants a stronger woman who can hold her own.
Yeah.
Ugh.
One who he can fight, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Batman is very psychologically complex, so
Yes. Maybe
uh,
not as much at this point in the comics, but they're getting there. You can tell that they're trying very
yeah.
hard.
I mean, he's got a kid who's kind of like a little brother who he's
Yeah.
training to be just like him. He's got a damsel slash femme fatale. We don't have a butler yet, though.
I wonder when we're going to reach that point, because there will be a point where, when we're reading it, where it stops being so innocent,
Mhm.
and then he's just like questions everything he's done. Like, why did I bring a kid into all this? And like, why am I being so reckless? And
I'm guessing it's probably 60s.
yeah,
Yeah. We'll see. I think during the 60s, the show definitely has a more, it takes more off like the Dick Spring, 1950s eras. A lot of this, well, I think while I was looking through issues that took place in the actual 60s during that time,
Hmm.
they became a little more mature.
Cool. I'm
And
excited to
yeah,
get further in.
yeah,
Dick Sprang's art is like amazing.
yeah.
Like it is very cartoony, but it's really detailed and it has a really amazing sense of motion.
Jerry Robinson's basically at this point pulling all the weight.
Yeah.
It'll be good to see what it'll be like once Bob Kane is off the comic.
Like the art right now, it's really good. Don't get me wrong, but it looks like someone trying to make it look like Bob Kane's art.
Yeah,
Like it's basically, it still looks or resembles the Batman from like Detective Comics number 28,
yeah.
29, like where the art
Especially
got a little better.
with Batman staring into
Yeah.
the face.
It,
Yeah,
it's just that like the anatomy is better and the posing's better and
yeah.
the frames look better and everything's just sort of like structured better. So everything flows when you read it.
Hmm.
It doesn't seem so disjointed.
Yeah.
Did you see that little like interview with Bob Kane thing that was in that issue?
No.
Here, I'll show it to you real quick and you take a look at it. Here it is. Meet the artist.
Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, you'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
It talks about how he's been honing his artist skills and trying to take anatomy classes at the university to get better at drawing.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
Didn't know they did anything like that back then. Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for this issue, or this issue and this
Yep.
episode.
Next one, by the way, the final story from Batman number 1, The Joker Returns.
Yes.
Yeah. You get to do the write up on that one.
Can't wait for that.
And then Detective Comics number 42, The
For-
Case of the Prophetic Pictures, which is one where somebody does prophetic paintings.
Hmm.
So that should be
Do
interesting.
they die after they get painted?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, no, that's what it is. I think I remember reading the little blurb and it says everyone that the person paints dies.
Ooh, that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
All right. We will see you then. Thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Goodbye.